Hello friends, welcome back to my channel. My name is Erica. And in today's video, I am bringing you another episode of a new monthly series I'm doing here on my channel called Random Ranking. Now this is sort of similar to something I used to do on my channel called Would I or Wouldn't I, where I would grab 10 palettes out of my collection and then I'd show them all to you and let you know whether I would or would not repurchase them and why or why not. And I got that idea from Angelica Liramar, who is just a beautiful, magical, incredible creator here on this platform. And I will link Angelica's channel in my description box. I highly recommend, if you guys have not yet checked her out, go do it because I think you're going to love her. I had just kind of gotten through, I feel like, the majority of my palettes, but I really enjoy talking about eyeshadow palettes. So I thought, what could I do that's similar to that, but obviously not exactly the same? So this is what I came up with. So what I'll be doing is I will be randomly selecting 10 palettes out of my collection. I have all my palettes written down in a notebook right in front of me here. So you'll get to see me randomly select the palettes in real time. And then I'm gonna go grab the palettes off my shelf or shelves, I guess, or out of my drawers here, depending on which palettes I randomly select. And then I'm going to rank them for you. I'm just going to rank them on the 10 palettes that I've chosen for each episode. I'm not really like thinking about my collection as a whole. And, you know, I don't know how interesting this is to you guys, but I feel like people really enjoy ranking type videos with eyeshadow palettes or just eyeshadow palette videos in general. And I love to talk about eyeshadow palettes. And of course, this is just for fun, right? This is not super serious. It's just fun to do this. I don't know why. I just love to geek out over eyeshadow palettes. So again, I have all of my eyeshadow palettes written down in a notebook right in front of me. There are 219 palettes now in my collection. So I'm going to pull up my random ranking thingamajiggy, or my random generator app, or whatever you want to call it. It's called the Random Picker app is what it's called. And I'm going to go into number, and it's 1 to 219. Now I do mark off the ones that I've chosen for each episode. I've only done one episode, so I have those marked off. So if I select the same one, I'm gonna just keep going until I get another one. So I'm not ranking the same palettes every single time I do this. That would not be fun. Okay, so generate. Let's see what it says here. 148. Okay, let me see. 148 is the Cartagena Mágica palette from Nomad. Okay, the next one is 86. Okay, let me find 86 in my little notebook here. 86 is the Glamlight Michaela 1 palette. Okay, the third palette, let's see what we have here. Number 170. Okay, let me find that in my little trusty notebook. That is the Rashab Gold Digger palette that my dear friend Julie sent me. I love that palette. I'm going to be pulling that into a 2 or 3 looks video too. I should have pulled that into my last video. 167. Okay, that is the Queen Nubia Evolution palette. Alrighty, so that's the fourth, right? Fourth palette, 1, 2, yeah, fourth palette. The fifth palette is number 7, and that is the Alter Ego Artemis palette. I love that palette. Ooh, hee hee. Okay, palette number 6, 108. That is the Ladybug Glow Floresta palette. Ooh. The 7th palette, number 52. That is the Colourpop Blue Moon palette. All right. Good mix of palettes, I feel like. Okay, number 8. 154. That is the Natasha Denona Mini Love palette that my dear Janny Boo sent me. Okay, the 9th palette. 84. That is the Gormon Girls Ethereal palette. Oh, this might be a really tough ranking. Okay, the last palette here for this episode is 163, and that is the Perfusion Euphoria palette. Oh, nice. Okay, cool. And that was gifted to me from my dear friend and subscriber, Tara. So hang tight. I'm going to go grab those palettes, figure out how I'm going to rank them, and then I'll show you why I ranked them the way that I did. So I rounded up all the palettes and I have ranked them. And it really didn't take me that long. It only took me a few minutes, which I thought maybe it might take me a few hours. And don't laugh, because sometimes it does take me a few hours to rank my palettes. Now I'm going to start off with the lowest ranked palette in the 10th spot, moving up the ladder until I get to the palette that's in the number 1 ranked spot for this episode, of course. Now they're ranked this way, not because I don't like the palettes. It's just based on color story, quality, formula, the looks that I've put together, just kind of my experiences with the palettes. That's it, okay? I don't dislike any of these palettes. So starting off with the 10th ranked palette, it is the Profusion Euphoria palette that my dear friend and subscriber Tara sent to me. And the only reason why this is in the lowest ranked spot, partially because this shade did break out, which was not Tara's fault. This shade was just kind of crumbly. It wasn't nearly this gone when I got it, but it was just kind of falling apart. And I did my best to try to smush it back in the pan, but it just wasn't doing it. So I did just kind of, take the shade and throw it away in the garbage can. I wish this palette had a little bit more light in it, but if you want a really nice depth-wise palette, this is really lovely. And it is a really good price point. These palettes used to be $5. I think now off the website, they're $6. And if you buy them in stores, I think they're like $9 or $10. Dawn, if you're watching, maybe remind me how much these cost in the store, because Dawn knows that. I can't remember. And, I mean, it was fun to play with. I've only played with it one time. It was fun. I just felt like, some of these shadows maybe aren't as wowing as some of the other shadows that I have in other palettes for this episode, but it is a really nice drugstore palette, and I'm thrilled that Tara sent it to me. The 9th palette belongs to the Queen Nubia Cosmetics Evolution palette. Now, this is a Black woman-owned brand that I absolutely love. I love the brand owner. Her name is Shakara, and she is just this beautiful, wonderful person. And she and I became pretty close initially when I found her brand on Instagram. I saw pictures of her popping up on my feed, and I'm like, what does she have on her face? I can see Queen Nubia Cosmetics. Is she Queen Nubia Cosmetics? Is she using her own products? What's going on? So I kind of stalked her on Instagram, reached out to her, we started chatting, and I went onto the website and got myself a couple of her palettes, some of her liquid lipsticks, some highlighters. Just really enjoy this brand. We don't chat as much as we used to. I mean, she's raising a little girl and she's really busy with her life, but I just adore her. And I really like this palette a lot. I think it's a beautiful color story. I do wish that it did have more shimmers in here. There's only 2 shimmers. There's 3 pressed glitters, and then the rest are all mattes. Now, I have never tried the pressed glitters just because they look a little too chunky for my taste. I like them a little bit more finely milled, but I should try the pressed glitters rather than just letting them sit in the pans and not using them. So maybe I'll be pulling this into the video where I finally use a pressed glitter for you guys in a video. I don't know. But I think the vibrancy in here is beautiful. I like the formula of the shades that I've used. I've only used this palette one time. So again, that's why it's ranked lower, because I don't have a ton of experience with it. But I do think it's really nice. And I do need to use this again. Of course, I need to use this again. That's a running theme. That's why I'm doing my Throwback Thursday videos. Number 8 belongs to the Nomad Cosmetics Cartagena Mágica palette. Now, the reason why this is ranked 8th is just because of the color story. It doesn't really wow me that much. I did use this, though, for a 2 looks video, and the color story and the shades wowed me a lot more than I thought they were going to. But I don't know, just out of the color stories I pulled in, out of the palettes I pulled in for this episode, I just, this just doesn't make me go, oh my gosh, like some of the other palettes do. I do think this is a lovely formulated palette. I do like the color story more than I used to. The 2 shades that really have my heart in this palette, and it is what keeps this palette in my collection because I've thought about decluttering it, are these 2 shades right here. I just love them. And I really did like the 2 looks video that I did with this, and I just need to keep using it, of course. Number 7 belongs to the Natasha Denona Mini Love palette. And Janny sent this to me, and I could just smooch her face off for sending this palette to me. It's lovely. It's a very romantic, soft, pretty color story. I've used it once when I did a collab with Jan and Shawnee, but really liked the look that I put together. I'm such a huge fan of the Natasha Denona mattes especially, but also her shimmers. But her mattes are just incredible. They just blend themselves, really. And I know she has the cream to powder. I don't know what shades those are in any of the palettes I have from Natasha Denona. But for a little palette, there's only 5 shades in here. I mean, you're not going to be able to do a ton of different looks, I don't think, with this palette, but it's lovely, really a lovely palette. And it's just ranked lower because of the fact that it's smaller and yada, yada. Okay. Number 6 belongs to the Blue Moon palette from Colourpop. Is this my favorite blue palette I have in my collection? I don't know. This one was a little bit tricky for me to rank because it is a lovely blue palette. Monochromatic, yes, but you've got the light, the mid-tones, and then also the darker tones. You know, so you have a full gamut of blue shades in here. You can create a beautiful gradient with this palette. That's what I love about monochromatic palettes, is the gradient you can create. And this is going to be coming in a Throwback Thursday video as well. I've used this a handful of times, and a big chunk of this shade fell out on my shirt while I was filming, like, I think my third or fourth video that I'd ever filmed. I was like panicking. I'm like, oh my God, it's broken my lap. Oh well, life went on. It has gone on. But yeah, I definitely need to use this again because it's so beautiful. I'm still trying to decide if I want to do Battle of the Palettes videos, because this would be really fun to battle against either the Glamlight Icy palette, the blue one, obviously, or the BH Cosmetics Bubblegum palette. Jeez, hello. Number 5 belongs to the Alter Ego Artemis palette. Now this is duping the Metropolis palette from Natasha Denona. Earthy, grungy, coppers, golds, browns, lots of neutrals in here, but stunning neutrals. And then you have some really fun pops of color, blues and greens, oranges. This is coming in a 3 looks video. I think who did I collab with this? Tina and Leanna. We all 3 did a Thanksgiving, what we're thankful for type video together last year, maybe the year before, and I have not used it since then. That's ridiculous. And, you know, I don't think this is the same exact quality as the Natasha Denona original. Probably not. But it's still a lovely palette. And I'm really excited to pull it in for a multiple looks video, of course. Let's see. Let me sit this over here. Number 4 belongs to the Michaela 1 palette from Glamlight. And we have the disco ball. I can spend way too much time playing with this palette. Just shaking it around, acting like it's a maraca. And I love this color story because you have tons of different options in here. And I really enjoy the formula that's in this palette too. I really want to pull this into a multiple looks video as well. Oh my gosh. I need like 3 more days in the week and like 15 more eyelids, and I would be having so much fun. This was hard for me to rank too. I could have ranked this higher actually, but I do feel like, you know, the way I've ranked things works well for my brain. You know, I'm staying calm. I'm not totally stressing out the entire time I'm holding up the palettes. I have not used this in quite some time. So yeah, I'm either going to be pulling this into a Throwback Thursday or a multiple looks video for sure. Let me put this one over here too. I have palettes all over the place. Number 3 is the Rashab Cosmetics Gold Digger palette. Now I think, did I do a 2 looks video with this? Or just a 1 look? I think I might have just done the 1 look video, and that's absolutely asinine because this is a stunning palette. I had so much fun filming the video with this palette. There's beautiful duochromes in here, like these 3 shades right here. Well, this maybe even 2. And the mattes are so lovely. And I think this is a really fun color story with a good mix of neutrals and colorful shadows. And the duochrome multichromy shimmers in here are just jaw-dropping. And I'm so thankful that Julie sent this to me because I'd wanted to try this brand, and she just spoils me, and I love it. And that needs to be thrown into a Throwback Thursday too. Throw. Okay, number 2 is the Gormon Girls Ethereal palette. And this is an all shimmer palette. I gotta be careful with this because this shade, it's not broken, but I've hit pan, and I just don't want to break it even more. All shimmer palette, as you can see, multi-chromes, duochromes, and metallic finishes in here. And I did do a 2 looks video with this. I used this in combination with the Utopia palette from Beauty Bay, which is an all matte palette, and I had an absolute blast. There's still a couple of shades in here I have not used yet, which that's ridiculous. So this will either be coming in a multiple looks video, I might do that again, or just pull it into a Throwback Thursday. Maybe I'll throw it into a couple different episodes of Throwback Thursday because there's lots of shades in here. Thoroughly impressed with this palette, thoroughly impressed with this brand. But I'm telling you, this is stunning. If you're looking for a beautiful all shimmer palette, and this is still available, I hope, I would pick this up. It's gorgeous. And I really want to get their collab palette that they did with Steph's Beauty Stash because I adore Steph. Now, number 1, I'm sure you know, you could figure it out if you were paying attention when I randomly generated these babies. the Floresta palette from Ladybug Glow. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. My favorite brand. This is one of my favorite palettes from this brand, but I could say that about all of their palettes. I love this color story. I think it's so unique and so beautiful and so fun. And I am currently doing 2 looks videos with all of my Ladybug Glow palettes. Those will be coming here and there over the next probably month, I would say. And oh, I cannot wait to, this might come next. I don't know. I do have another Ladybug Glow palette pulled out for the next 2 looks video. But I don't know, man. I might have to pull this one in. I mean, I will eventually. See, this is what I do. This is what happens. I start second guessing, doubting, and then panicking. I am so thrilled that this is in my collection. I am so thrilled that I discovered this brand, and I have a love affair, a mad love affair with this brand. I just love their palettes. So that was my ranking for episode 2 of Random Ranking, a monthly series that will continue to be coming up here on my channel. Next episode, episode 3, of course, will be coming next month. Let me know if you have any of these palettes in your collection and what you enjoy about them. Let me know what you think of how I ranked these palettes. Let me know if you think I got it right or if you would have ranked things completely differently. But I'm just loving this. It's so fun to sit down and talk and talk and talk about eyeshadow palettes. I love it. Thank you guys so much for taking time out of your lives to sit down and watch this video. If you're new here and you enjoyed what you saw, please consider subscribing, smash the like button, and of course, comment down below in the comment section. I'd love to chat with you guys there. If you've been here before, thank you so much for coming back. I cannot wait to see you guys again in my next video. But in the meantime, please take very good care of yourself. Be well, safe, happy, and I will see you soon. Bye.
Drop it.